Our first question comes from Bree23. They ask, could the Saints be looking to add another wide receiver?
I mean, I think the ship sailed on it. Probably. I mean, I don't.
I saw that
who they would
report.
go
I think
get.
it was Jordan Schultz said they were one of the teams interested in Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and my guess
A
is
few years ago they were. Yeah.
Well, no, he said that when he signed with the Bills the
Yeah,
other
he
day,
just
that the
signed with
Bills
the Bills.
beat out a couple other teams that showed interest, including the Saints, and that's why the question came in. But my guess, without knowing for sure, my guess is sure, maybe they placed a call and they wanted to know what's the price on him currently, and it was probably a little higher than they wanted to. I'm sure they're still making calls. I keep thinking that by the time we get to July, if Hunter Renfrow still hasn't paid anywhere, his buddy Derek Carr, they're so close. He's had his best year with him that maybe they'll be like, hey, we'll do the vet minimum deal to try to resurrect his career here. I think that's still possible with that level of receiver that is still out there now. But I think it's pretty evident they're not going to pay for it.
Yeah, they aren't going to go out and spend money on that. I mean, if they can get someone, sure, but I don't even think it's like a high priority at this point.
Right.
Like it's just kind of if the right opportunity exists, and I think that's probably the case for any position now. But as far as going out and like trying to make a move, a big move, a splash, I don't see it.
Cedric Wilson was their pick. I mean, I don't think they're paying someone more. And then they also brought in Equanimeous St. Brown, who's a bigger guy, and he was super cheap. But yeah, I mean, I think Cedric Wilson was there. This is the one guy we're going to pay more than the minimum for.
Yeah. The next question is from Joe. He asks, what is the biggest part of Jordan Howden's game that needs to improve this season?
Consistency, I really think, is just really the main thing with him. Is there were too many ups and downs. Like you saw the ups and you saw really good things, and then there'd be dips and they'd take him off the field. So I think if he just gets more consistent, there'll probably be more confidence in him. He can settle in. He can do more things and get more snaps and kind of grow into that. But I think it's just not being a rookie. I mean, I really think that's all it is for him at this point.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's so funny how forgiving fans can be so much more forgiving about people who have highs and lows. The coaching staff was not forgiving. Like Dennis Allen was harder, I think, on Jordan Howden than almost anyone I've heard him be last year. It just shows in the tape. Like he was probably out of place on a lot of those long runs. Just things we don't know for sure. He's probably out of place on things where he wasn't getting the blame visually if you're just watching the game, but they know. And he really lost his job to Jonathan Abram late last season. So even though we keep penciling him in as the guy who's going to start because they got rid of Marcus May, and I think that will be the natural next step in his progression. He had kind of lost his grip on that starting job at the end of last season. So he has a lot of consistency is probably the right word, but he has to prove he's on top of things for sure.
My answer is a combination of both of your answers. Actually, my first point was going to be maturity. He doesn't have the reps to be able to go out there and make instinctive plays that you find out over time. And then on top of that, he was just playing. He didn't know where he was playing in particular. He didn't, he had to be coached, and he's at a malleable point in his career where the coaches can kind of mold him and put him where they feel like he needs to be. So I think, with this summer, knowing that you have a chance to be the starter long term, that, he'll be able to make some leaps